As I have mentioned elsewhere in this book, it is obvious that we have an education crisis in this country, and it is so bad that, and by the way, look up, try to find the email I sent to Aaron Raw where I said how bad it was here. So, with education in this country is so bad that grown men and women aren't even actually lack the awareness of knowing or realizing how uninformed they are. And some of these people have celebrity status that gives them a platform to broadcast their ideas to the masses. In this chapter, I'm going to explain why Robert De Niro is worse than Donald Trump. I stumbled upon, out of blind and sheer luck, I was told about something called the Pygmalion effect by in the naval reserves by an officer who at that time had a civilian job that he that was benefited from knowledge of the Pygmalion effect. And he took it upon himself during one of our weekend gatherings to give a lecture to the other naval reservists about the Pygmalion effect. And when I heard about it, I immediately was impressed and felt that this was something that should be taught to school children, and everyone would benefit from knowledge of the Pygmalion effect. As I remember it goes, the Pygmalion effect is explained as follows. So, in a nutshell, the Pygmalion effect means that results tend to raise to the level of expectations. And as I understand it and as I remember it, the story goes like this. There was a government agency, there was a federal government agency that was tasked to determine if the Pygmalion effect was real. And this is their experiment that they conducted. They went around to grade schools and conducted what they told educators was a aptitude or intelligence evaluation test. And they deliberately picked the students and the persons from the federal government deliberately picked the students who scored average on the test. When they informed the educators that those average and sometimes random students had potential for excellence. The second phase of the study to determine whether or not the Pygmalion effect was real involved the educators returning to those schools and giving the students a different and yet more conclusive aptitude or intelligence test. And they found that the students that were picked out either as average or picked out either randomly or as average at the beginning of the school year were at the top of the of the top of the list that evaluated excellence, that evaluated true excellence. So this gave evidence to the fact that the Pygmalion effect is real. And how this happened was that the educators gave more attention and positive encouragement to those students that they believed had potential. And this had the effect of the students believing in themselves and and the effect of encouraging the students to try harder because they received um, clues or um, uh, they received clues and indications from the teachers that the teachers believed in them and had and so the students thinking that if the teachers as professional educators had knowledge that they had potential, then clearly they were. Then that created the belief in the students in themselves. The lecture where I received this information went on to give other examples where the federal employees involved in this study tested it on um, members of the janitorial staff and um, using positive um, yet subtle indicators that the employees that the persons employed on the staff had faith and belief in people in the certain persons in the janitorial staff that they could learn some computer skills, and it worked. Just positive reinforcement and encouragement and an expectation that someone would be able to accomplish some goals made those goals attainable. And this is why Robert De Niro is much more dangerous to society than Donald Trump ever could be. Because his negativity and expectation is so low that if the Pygmalion effect was to take place, it would actually cause the achievements and success of the president to be low. He's making Robert De Niro is making a reality that's undesirable. And so he's worse and a greater threat to society than Donald Trump ever could be.